Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. I have a little bit of an update. I had another sort of health issue, which nobody has to say anything about. There doesn't need to be any comments about it, like "I hope you feel better" or anything like that. I think it was a net positive because I don't believe it had anything to do with my heart and whatever. So I'll explain that in just a minute. And I also was going to do a gratefulness update. This is a place where people can post gratefulness comments, share what's going on with them, ask questions, whatever. Uh, Post things like this. It's been on my mind to do this for a couple of days and talk about, anything gratefulness. And this will also be in my 107th Journey Series video. So I've started working on that one already. I just uploaded the 106th, which is interesting because there's a recent interview with Dodgy where he says the word gratefulness, which is weird. And I'm gonna, that's gonna be, I don't know, up in the next couple of days, maybe this weekend. I'm not sure. It's available for members right now. So I'm just going to talk about the health issue first. And again, no reason to comment. I feel fine this morning, and I am going to take, more action on it. And so it's really a follow up to my video before because I've had a couple of days where it felt like my back was going to go into spasm again, and I've been able to stretch and do something to prevent it. And I felt that way yesterday. I have it's like if something's out, I'm going to go to a chiropractor and see if adjustment can help with that. And, there's something with my neck and one side. I've had issues with both my shoulders, and I talked about one. My left shoulder, I had trouble. We used to have these 5-gallon buckets full of cow feed, and we would get from these. I want to say they're not Amish. But they're kind of like Amish people. And I could lift them, into our truck or our van, whatever we were using, with my right hand quite easily. But my left arm, my shoulder, there's just something. It's just a weakness there, and not, it's something that's happened, but it hasn't really healed. And so I had trouble with my left shoulder for a number of years, and then I something happened to my right shoulder, and it's come back and forth. That's gone away and then come back. And so when I'm sleeping, sometimes they're uncomfortable. They both kind of hurt a little bit, depending on which side I'm on. And then whatever the spasm thing that goes with it, I've had like a kind of a sore spot, and I feel like it's near a nerve between my neck and my shoulder. Down around close to my shoulder blade. And that seems to be where, the spasm might have come from. But anyways, so I woke up last night and I started to have a spasm just from my right side. Nothing to do with my left side, my left arm. And I have this, thing, the So Right, which is a plastic device that is good for releasing the psoas muscle, and it's good on my back. I use it there. Something about it's like curved, and it's, if it just seems to be good when you're having some sort of a muscle issue to like release the tension in the muscle. Sometimes it's painful, but it's kind of interesting. And so I did that, and it seemed to stop the spasm from happening. But I sat up in bed like I did the last time, right before I was like, I wonder if this has anything to do with my heart. And I put out that video, just listen. You could listen to this in case I die. Just things I would say if I was going to die, and I'm going to put this in that playlist as well, just because it's a part of this. And there's just something going on in my system, and it's kind of like a migraine, but not. I've heard of, gut migraines in people's abdominal migraines, but it wasn't anything like that either. But it's just something my body does now, I think, it glitches out. But I can say I'm 99% sure it has nothing to do with my heart, which is probably the good thing, obviously a good thing. But there's a glitching out of my system. And one of the things my system does is it has back spasms. And then it was like I was wide awake and it was racing. I was very relaxed. I wasn't I didn't feel like I was having a panic attack, but it could be something like that. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I've had this, since I've had COVID, once in a while I would wake up and my body would just be, there's my system, my metabolism or something would just be racing. My heart would be racing. My heart wasn't racing last night, but it was just like there's just something going on with my system, and it's a weird way to wake up, right? I didn't have a nightmare. I didn't have anything like that. In fact, I got up to the bathroom and I was walking back and my back started to spasm. I think that's how it went. Just on the one side, and that was dealt with. But then there was just, so I started to meditate, and I just couldn't get back into like a sense of being sleepy or relaxed or whatever it was. There has been a lot more pollens lately, and I've reacted to that. But yesterday I wasn't sneezing or anything. And so, there wasn't, I don't know if that had anything to do with it. So I feel like this is just something my body's doing now. And it might have to do with the COVID stuff. I've been doing the detox, so there could be things that are being released from my liver. I feel a little bit that that's happening. And so, I sat there and meditated, but I just noticed there's something going on in my system and whatever it might be. There was an Abhyasi, a preceptor I knew, who was having panic attacks and thinking they were heart attacks. He went to the hospital twice thinking he was having a heart attack, but they were really panic attacks. And the first time they told him to go off caffeine, but he really liked coffee. So he went off caffeine for a while and they didn't come back. But then he started drinking coffee again and they came back. And then, eventually he had a second one. He wrote to Master Charji and he said, "You have a fear of drowning. You have a fear of drowning and from a past life and in which you drowned, and, it'll be cleaned off." And so, there's things that have to do with physical issues often have to do with cleaning. So that's a big thing, right? I've always had these weird idiosyncratic things that happen, and then it just has to do with cleaning. So I'm kind of relaxed about it. Maybe, I'm going to talk to some people. I'm going to go to a chiropractor. I might go to the holistic chiropractor as well I've gone to before. And I'm going to call this guy, Cal Sellers, who, I'm going to try to set up an appointment with him over the phone and just see if there's any ideas or whatever it is, right? But I feel like it's just something my body's doing now. And it may or not have to do, well, definitely cleaning is always used. Whenever you have a physical issue, cleaning happens. Some scars are burned off. Even if you don't do Sage Marg, that's the case. Often when people are sick, they feel lighter, spiritually lighter afterwards, because that's a way your natural system is burning off spiritual grossness through physical illness and, things like that. And, my system just glitches out with the migraines. Migraines are a weird thing, especially when I just recently had the aura. I wouldn't have the spasm and the migraine at the same time. It's like two different ways of, my system just dealing with stuff. And I should say that, I'm lucky in terms of I haven't had any major illness, really anything other than COVID. And again, COVID was a, biological weapon, wherever it was. I haven't had anything in terms of, no cancer, no real, I'm, almost 60 years old. So, and my family has, good genetics for longevity. And I haven't had anything like major surgery of any type, no tumors or skin cancer or, anything. I don't have any major physical conditions like diabetes or anything like that, right? I just have these, I have allergies, which, have more or less disappeared as I got older. They've kind of come back, but this spring, but I haven't had, I had them when I was a kid, but those things have sort of gone away. But I get the migraines and, I have these weird glitch out things, but that's not, I don't consider that a serious health crisis. I've only been to the hospital a couple of times and nothing really serious. I had the, accident when I was a kid. I fell out of the zip line, which is more stupidity than anything else. And that's about it, right? I haven't had huge health issues. For someone my age, that's rare. Like some, there's usually something, some major health crisis. And there's also this idea of a healing crisis. If you fast There's there's different ways that you can have what's called a healing crisis, where your body has some sort of crisis and it's used to purge out toxins, or there's a good outcome to it, right? When you have some sort of health issues, it might help boost your immune system, or whatever it might be. Like sometimes you just go through things as a health level that are necessary to sort of boost your health system, or whatever it is, your immune system or something else. So I meditated, and there was just something off in my system, like my physical system. Like, I don't know what it is, can't describe it. I've had a racing of my system from COVID, and it always sucks when you wake up sick. With COVID, I'd wake up gasping for breath, and usually sleep is what I do to deal with some sort of health issue, right? There's a little bit of pain on my arm and things like this, so that that's the only thing that would be considered like a heart symptom. But I feel like it's a nervous issue, and my nervous system has been, I reset my vagus nerve whenever I have like a heart palpitation, and there's various ways on YouTube they describe how to do that. I use my looking to the side, off to the side, but there's just like a glitchiness I've had since COVID in my system. And, even before COVID, I talked about glitching out, having these issues. And, people have suggested I'm dehydrated, but I hydrate, and I take some electrolytes every day. I drink some magnesium's involved. But so I couldn't go to sleep, so I decided to take a couple of magnesium pills, Neuromag, I take for the migraine headaches. And I decided to take a little pinch of cayenne pepper with it, which I do every morning. I take electrolytes, some pine pollen, some like we have a tincture of goldenrod, which is supposed to be, there's an article I read about that being good against the spike protein. We all have that in us now, like whatever's going on with COVID, and the people got the what. It's just people have it now. It's spread. It's throughout the human, situation. And so, it's going to come back out. I don't know. But it's apparently the goldenrod is something that's good against that. I covered that in another video. So I take these various liquids and things when I take my supplements in the morning. And, I drink cayenne pepper all the time. And I've been taking this lemon juice, cayenne, and olive oil, a little bit of it in the morning to help with a liver cleanse. It's supposed to get rid of a fatty liver. And I feel like it's been effective. One of my viewers sent this to me, I think, via Instagram, and I've been doing it, and I've been grateful for it because I think it's been very helpful. My wife is doing it as well. And so taking cayenne pepper is not something new, but I put some cayenne pepper in the water, very little, not a lot. It's supposed to help with a heart attack, and if your body goes into shock or something, according to various resources. Again, I'm not recommending anything. It's just things I do. And the cayenne pepper hit my throat wrong, and I couldn't breathe. I was coughing, and I was coughing pretty hard. It was pretty bad. It was like the middle of the night. My dogs are there sleeping, and I'm coughing, and then like I was gasping for air. So this, going from the other thing. And my heart was racing because of the situation. I knew I just didn't have a heart attack because, my heart was racing, right? Because I guess that was kind of a confirmation, because I wouldn't be, in that situation that I, where I'm like gasping for air, and my heart, like my heart was fine. But I gulped so much air, like I swallowed it, and then my stomach's bloated, and I'm like burping out, like just, I just had all this like air that I swallowed. It was just a weird thing. And then so then I couldn't go back to sleep for a while. My wife woke up, and I just said, I'm fine. I just had this little thing, because I'd gone to the kitchen, so, but anyways, I feel like if anything, it's a positive. I don't think it has anything to do with my heart. I just think it's, something my body does. And now that COVID's happened, and whatever cleaning I might be going through is happening regularly, I feel relaxed about it. And, I slept fine, and then I woke up, you know, basically back to normal. I had a little bit of my heart raced when I woke up, this was like 4 in the morning when I had this. I woke up at like 6 or 7, 6:30, and my heart was racing a little bit. I did the vagus nerve thing. I went back to sleep. So, I just feel like there's this glitch out stuff going on with my body. So that's, better explanation than, my first reaction. That I thought, well, maybe it's a heart attack, and now I'm pretty sure it's not. And so I'm going to do something about this time. My wife has already booked me a chiropractic appointment for tomorrow. And other than that, I've been working hard every day. Like, I feel physically great. Like, I feel strong. I'm doing a lot of outdoor work. And, I mean, sometimes, 6 hours, 5 hours, a lot of it. But at least a couple of hours a day. And then we go on walks. And, I walk about 6 miles a day or whatever, anywhere from 4 to 8 miles a day. My weekly average on my iPhone is 5.9. And I don't always have my iPhone when I'm walking. So, whatever that is, 6 or 7, whatever, maybe an extra mile. I don't know. I just checked it. So, that's my health stuff. And I think it's more or less good news that, I don't think it's a heart issue. Like, I don't think I had a heart attack or anything like that, which was, I didn't necessarily believe it was that, but I thought it was like at least possible. And now I just don't think it's possible. I think it's, all the things that I mentioned, and, we'll see how it works out. And it'd be good if the only really bad part for me is it happens at night. Either I'm right about to go to bed, or I'm, sleeping and I wake up and have one of these issues. And that sucks because, sleep is how I always dealt with being sick, right? And COVID sort of took that away from me a little bit, because COVID is, it was the nights that were really bad, especially the first time I had COVID. Okay, so now I want to get into the gratefulness stuff. I, I have been meaning to do an update and talk about this, and again, I'll include this in my journey series, and this will be on playlists and things. And I just, kind of an update. And it'd be good if you left comments saying that, whether you're doing the meditation still, or how's this working for you, and these things, right? I've been thinking about how to move the thing forward with gratefulness, or what more could be done. And, I'm getting away from it, but there'll be Master Chargy's birthday will be on July 24th. So we'll have some sort of gathering with that, just impromptu. And then it'll be another half a year till Lology's birthday in February. And, hopefully in the winter, I'll spend more time thinking about how to move forward. Gatherings are going to be tough. I'm not really willing to fly. And, there's maybe a potential of having a gathering at our farm or something like that. But that, there's a lot there in terms of, a lot of effort on my part. And, I don't know if that would happen within any short time period, but that puts it, a situation where, people are going to have to travel and stay in hotels. And, I don't know how people are wanting or willing to do that. The numbers are, people would have to help provide meals, and, there'd be all that stuff, right? You have to do like potluck things. People could, help create there'd have to be a lot of effort from all of you, like to, pull off a gathering. There has to be some sort of registration. There has to be some sort of, just all these things that would have to be in place. And I'd have to see that there'd be, enough people that want to do it and willing to travel and have the ability to do so and all that, right? And, who knows when the birthdays will fall, these gatherings, in terms of whether they be on a weekend or not. Some people wouldn't be able to travel. People can do that locally. If you find other people who are doing this gratefulness around you. I hope I've been saying gratefulness, because I'm obviously not talking about heartfulness. So yeah, if I said heartfulness before, I think I might have. I meant gratefulness. But anyways. Then somebody wrote me they wanted to start a subgroup on Reddit. And yeah, I don't want that. That's not good for me. I don't need another thing, right? if you want to start a group, that's up to you, but I'm not associated with it, right? Like, I don't want to be a part of it. I'm not endorsing it. It's not, and it shouldn't have anything to do with me. My name shouldn't be a part of it, channel, whatever. I've been through these things or seen these things happen before with Chargy. And, I monitor one thing, which is the comment section on my YouTube channel. And to some extent, there's not much activity on my Pockets of the Future Facebook page. And so, the one community I monitor is the comment section. That's more than enough, right? Like, there's some good things that come out of the comment section for me. Sometimes it's content. Sometimes it's, healthcare suggestions that have been helpful. There's other helpful comments. But the majority of them aren't. The internet so full of trolls and bad energy. And, I just know that's what will end up happening with any of these forum things. And, anything that's going to increase my stress or workload, I'm going to avoid. Like, anything you asking me, before you ask me something, you should, think about how I'm going to perceive it. If you're asking for me to do something more or do something personal for you, then, you should think twice, right? Or just, think about how it's going to be on my end, because it just puts me in a negative position, a more stressed out position or whatever. Like, I have to say no to people. Somebody wrote to me very recently and wanted me to tell them what a piece of crap they were so they could work on themselves, right? And, I guess I'm suited for that job, but I don't want it, right? Why would I want that? Like, why would I want to do that? I'm not offering that as a personal service. I'm not talking about doing that. And it's really up to you to figure out, right? And so I was thinking about this last night, because I was going to talk about this before the health thing. I was thinking about this, and I realized, there is a hole in the Gratefullness system, which I've talked about before, of you guys not, having access to preceptors, not being able to go to gatherings, and not have, as much literature that was available, and all the things that went with it, right? And so not having a preceptor or not having these things is something, I've been thinking about, because preceptors are helpful in all of these things, right? In terms of teaching you how to do Sajmarg and all these other aspects of it, right? But then I thought about the Journey series is so, I guess, comprehensive is the word. Like my Journey series, which, I've done for personal reasons, but now that there's Gratefullness, I have so much of the Sajmarg teachings and the principles and the things that I've learned and how a gathering is and how Sajmarg works, that you're getting so much information that is what you would be getting from a preceptor, like the stories and all of it. And, even some of the literature stuff is, I cover it, some of the key points and things. And so the Journey series is loaded with things you need to know about being an Abhyasi. And it's, there's hours and hours of it. Many of you have listened to it, and it, will help you figure out and get used to and understand what goes on in the system. And even though some of the things don't exist anymore, the interactions with the master and there's things that are, again, not there. But I think that there's enough of a bump now in the transmission and cleaning and things that you don't necessarily need those things, right? So when Babaji was, were first making preceptors in the beginning of the mission, there were no books. And he would make somebody a preceptor. He'd say, go work. Go figure it out. Through the meditation, go sit in front of somebody and, see what happens. And the sittings, he said, the work will teach you. The work will teach you how to do the work. And that wasn't enough for most people because they're insecure and they lacked faith. But if they pursued it, if they tried it, if they did it, they would have had experiences that taught them things. Even my brother had this, right? Taught them how to be a preceptor. So later there was a preceptor seminars and there were techniques given and things, but there were things that people could have realized on their own had they done it, right? And so, yeah, the training needs to be there and some of these teachings, but you can get those. There's still some books available in the Sajmarg website, and there's some books that are available online, and there's I've given all this information in one of the links in my heartfulness my gratefulness playlist. I think the second video in the playlist has all the links. It's like a 50-minute long video, and it's comprehensive and all the things you need to know about doing Sajmarg. And like all of us who do it, it's up to you. You have to do the practice. You have to meditate. You have to invest in it. You have to believe in it. You work at it. No one's going to give you any easy answer. I've explained how the system works over and over again. I've explained what it's like to go through a cleaning, something, illness or something. And, that's another reason. Like when there's gatherings, people go through cleaning and there's always drama. And so, I'm not closed to taking that on. It's just at this particular time, that'll be a big thing, right? For me to bear the burden of all that, in my, living area or whatever, and have to figure all that stuff out and go through cleaning myself, and, and just people get aggravated with each other and there's drama, and, people's stuff comes up. It just happens during gatherings, and not having the facilities or an ashram, there's some things there, right? We'll see, I would like that to happen someday, and gatherings are just, epic, and they're really important, and they're, I'd like to experience that again personally. But there'd have to be, a communal type of shared work and commitment to these things that goes forward. And I don't know if that's there or not. I don't know if it exists. But anyways, there's enough now for you to do the practice. And like this person who wrote to me and says, tell me what a piece of crap I am so I can, better myself. Well, you can do that on your own. You can meditate and, that's your job, right? It's your job to figure out what you need to change. And the Gratefullness of Sajmarg meditative services are there, cleaning, and, you have to want to change. You have to want to better yourself in some way internally. And the services are there. You have to make the effort. Like, it's just, I believe the transmission and the cleaning are more available now than they were before. And this idea of a masterless or preceptorless system, there has to be more of it coming from the etheric world, and you have to rise up to it. You have to rise up to it and do it, and follow your intuition, and just be aware of the things that your life will show you what you need to do. Information will come to you. You can pray to God to show you what you need to do, what you need to change, all these things, right? All these letters I wrote to Master Charji in terms of like issues that I had, or, things I wanted to put in front of them. It was very helpful, but I wouldn't have right now, if I could go back in time and how I feel right now, my condition right now, I would probably not write most of those letters. And I certainly wasn't writing to Daji really much of anything, because I didn't need to put it in front of him, right? I could do that in my meditations, put my stuff in front of God myself, the internal master, and just wait for the answer to come back. And, in the beginning, sure, that wasn't there. Like, I didn't have that ability, but you can develop it, and you don't need, some third-party person to put things in front of God. You just have to, work at the system. The idea was that Babaji would transmit into your heart, and your divine path would be in your heart, and you just have to find it now, which would be much easier because of the transmission. The seeds would be planted, and it would just open up. It's like you uploaded a program, you downloaded a program. That's how I felt. I had that Shruti, which ended up being Pockets of the Future, and, it just develops naturally, and you just have to sort of ride the waves. You have to just, get into the flow. And it's not satisfying for your ego that wants instructions or wants, to be told how to do things, or you want, the community, whatever it might be, but it's always going to be you and God. That's the essence of the system. And you don't need me. Like, if it's gratefulness and it's to do with my channel, then, I'm going to control things, because I've seen, the system where Master Chargy micromanaged everything, and Comless just let people run amok. And the difference is, obviously there. But of course, you guys wouldn't be hearing about this had Master Chargy still been around, and I wouldn't be talking about this on the internet like I am. And so, there's that part of it, right? It's good that it's opened up, but, when people get involved, there's a time where Master Chargy, some people were building a shared, community. They're building like a kind of a gated community type situation. And they're all Abiasis. And it started to go south. And Chargy said, take my name off of this. I don't want anything to do with this. I'm not leaving my successor the mess that I was left with, right? Because there was drama, and there was, when they were building the ashram in Kana, Abiasis in the area started to see, oh my God, they're buying land in this area, and they started to buy land around the ashram, which was screwing the whole process up. And they were going to sell it back to the mission at a higher rate, or, whatever. They were taking advantage of the mission's plans that they got, wind of, and started buying land there. The mission was trying to acquire thousands of acres to build, this epic ashram that's there. And so, there's just corruptness and people being selfish, and, there's all these things. And I'm not dealing with that, right? I'm not here for the drama. I'm here to present how you can do Saj Marg. And again, you don't need me. You could form your own group, local people. You don't have to call it Gratefullness. You come up with your own thing. But it's just doing Saj Marg. It's not anything else. And I'm not necessary for it, right? I have a lot more information, experience, and things which I'm sharing. So it's, that's probably helpful to you all. But at some point you might not need that, or whatever it might be. There might be all these, subgroups and things people are doing. But in terms of anything that involves me, it's just, the communication is going to happen on these YouTube videos. People can connect or not, and, share information and ask questions and things like that. That this is where the community is going to happen in terms of anything to do with me, right? I don't want some, extra thing that I have to monitor, some extra whatever. Like I'm not, it's just not. Eventually I'll maybe do something on the Gratefullness YouTube channel I've created, and, the playlists are there. And every once in a while I'll have these check-ins, right, about how's it going, what are your experiences, are you still doing it, do you have any questions? People can, there could be a communal situation here, and, and you can come back to it and post things. Obviously, YouTube videos, the time passes and the comment section dies down, and, whatever it is, right? So it isn't like some of these other platforms, but, moving to another platform is, not great for me. Like, I'm not looking to take another thing on, right? All the information I share here, and, it's up to you to step up and do what you have to do, figure out what you have to do, and, pray to God. Pray to God to guide you and show you what you need to do. And you don't look for other people for answers. You have to come up with your own answers. You have to develop your own, your own relationship with God, and develop your heart. And you might make mistakes, or sometimes your ego might tell you things or whatever that aren't necessarily the right thing. But you have to learn how to, you're going to make mistakes and learn how to do it better, right? Like that's that's the issue when you're connecting to God directly. You don't have an institution and people to be a middleman and tell you what God's telling you, right? You have to be able to hear what God's telling you, and you got to be able to communicate with God on your own level, right? So anyways, like that's the update. People can, post comments and questions and things here, and, maybe not always for me, or they can be, word them so they go out to the group, and, people can help each other and answer these things. And it'd be good if the people, everyone, even if you don't comment initially, that you read through the comments. You might have things to offer. Some of the people have been doing it longer. Some of the people who had preceptors for a while, and even some of the old-time Abhyasis that are lurking here for whatever reason can come in and answer questions and things, or at least give information out. But that's that's where it has to happen here on these videos. Anyways, like I'll do another update maybe in a week or so. And, I'd like to see the thing move forward eventually to gatherings, which will be helpful. But other than that, through the Journey series and through all these, I talk about all the time here, there are ways that your questions will be answered in the content that I've provided. And, then if not, you can hopefully find literature, Sagemark literature. Some of it's still available on the Sagemark bookstore. Other things are available in PDF form, the 5 major books for Babaji. And, there's a video I've put out, the second video in the playlist, that links all these things. I have links there where you can go and download or read these books online. The My Master book by Charji and the 5 books by Babaji, and then some of the other key books. They're available in a couple different places, and I have links to them. So, and you can search for Sagemark books online, and you'll find these books. And there's a number of books that have been uploaded, and you can read them for free online. And they, they'll tell you a lot, right? And then there's other audio tapes out there. There's other, there's interactions with Babaji. There's a Sagemark channel. There's Charji talks out there, things that you can listen to. People can share these things and resources, but they're there for you. You have to just, do a little work and effort. You have to just do a little bit more work and effort than, I had to do, but it's more available to you now because of the internet and everything that's happening. Again, I'll comment on this again in a couple of, I don't know, a week or so, or maybe after this Sunday, I don't know. Sometime next week, I'll post another little update here. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely reporting from the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.